but apparently at one point he was living a lavish life and everything like that. So we'll see what goes on in that space. And in also in Tennessee, it looks like a Tennessee inmate will be executed despite ethical health concerns. So Tennessee readies for an execution of a man with a working implanted defibrillator. So Tennessee plans to execute the inmate amid concerns his heart implant will shock him repeatedly. So apparently they're afraid that he might get killed repeatedly. So Tennessee to execute Byron Black amid heart device intellectual disability concerns and all along those lines. So definitely ought to be interesting to see how that plays out as folks are debating the death penalty as well. So what's your take on that, Nick? There's apparently saying that he might get shocked multiple times and everything like that.
I'm shocked.
You're
I'm
shocked.
shocked. Yeah.
You're literally shocked. Hey, speaking of literally shocked, Jacoby's not here, but we had some little bit of political drama in North Carolina. It's I know it's a national and international show, but I'll just tell you that it's fun watching developers play games and everything like that. So they did a there's a development near our historical African American community that has been uh, highly controversial because they want to build this very high rise type building and everything like that. So the developers came from Chicago, made a 15-minute presentation, and then basically said, by the way, we decided we were going to withdraw our case and everything. So they were trying to make a case to make the buildings tall and to make this big flamboyant thing, but they were getting a lot of pushback from the citizens and everything. So they did a little bit of political gamemanship, talked about all the great things that they were going to give to Duke, the HBCU here, as well as the community college, and what they were going to do in terms of parking spaces and jobs and everything else. And then they were like, oh, psych, we're not going to do any of that because we're pulling out.
Yeah, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, private industry gets tired of the progressive movement, and the progressive movement's idea is to shut down, you know, innovation and um, you know, increasing better places to live, so that developers get tired of it, and then what they're doing is saying, "Hey, Durham, you're not the only city in town, or
Right.
Raleigh. We can go in the country. We can go somewhere else." So they'll take their capital and go somewhere else. And I do understand it. I mean, they want to keep everything the way it is, and that's fine. Then they'll take their money, they'll take their development money, and they'll take their jobs, and they'll just go somewhere else. I mean, they'll go to Bangladesh. I mean,
Yeah, they might go
you
back
know,
to this.
they'll build there. I'm sure DACA would love to have the developers in America come over there and build new, beautiful high-rise buildings. So it's people. They're stuck up into themselves, and the reality then sits in. So it doesn't surprise me. I mean, that happens not just in Durham; it happens all over. So it's not
It happens all over the place and everything. I did have another question, not about that, but this is an interesting article that the New York Times raised because there's a Montana shooting suspect that still at large, and they're saying check out the
new.
terrain, and they're trying to figure out how they're still at large. And I know there was that famous case of the gentleman that eventually got caught, I believe, in the mountains of North Carolina or the mountains of Virginia and everything like that. So how are these criminals able to go on these manhunts and go into hiding for all these long amount of times? Is it their friend and family network, or do they just know the terrain better than other people? Because I know even in certain wars like Vietnam, it was their knowledge of the terrain that was the reason that we stayed engrossed in that war longer than we probably should have, and everything like that, because they
Yeah,
definitely knew their
they,
terrain better than we do.
they know the terrain, but eventually they all get caught. I mean, it's very difficult to live anonymously in the United States. It's too because if you have a credit card, a cell phone, anything, can track you and find out where you are. So it's kind of just a matter of time. By the way, I saw the World Talent Economic Forum. Dr. Sharif was leading it up. It was
Yeah,
a good show. So, Dr. Sharif, congratulations. You had a lot of good people in from
yeah,
all
you
over
know,
the
the
world.
good people. We run his show on Tuesdays and
Yeah,
Thursdays. I think that was the one about human innovation that runs before us here
yeah.
and everything like that.
Well, it got a lot of hits. It deals with longevity issues. In other words, using AI and people living a long time. And I'm not sure how accurate that's going to be. In other words, longevity in the United States really hasn't increased very much. Average life expectancy is 77, and people are dropping dead like flies all over the place because we still have cardiovascular disease, which kills over 500,000 people. We still have cancer; it kills 400,000 people. So these older age diseases just haven't gone away. And we saw Hulk Hogan pass away, Ozzy Osbourne. You're gonna see a lot more celebrities. They're getting older and start.
They're getting older, and they definitely will pass away. We all have that in inevitability and everything like that. But just really quickly, it looks like one of Trump's allies has been arrested and everything like that. The U.S. is condemning Brazil Supreme Court order for house arrest for ex-president Jair Bolsonaro and everything like that. So the Brazil Supreme Court ordered the house arrest for the former president. So will after Trump gets out of office, will we be seeing house arrest for Trump, or will he be trying to give a house arrest to Biden? Will we be seeing us doing the similar things here in the U.S. that they do in other countries? Because apparently he's been charged with masterminding a coup.
I think it's all show. It's good for the legal profession because they get to be prosecutors and defenders. But a lot of this is all show. It's all garbage. I mean, the thing is, throw her in jail, throw him in jail. Give me a break.
So everything like that.
I mean, the thing is, you have to have real causes of action, and a lot of them they don't. So they're just mouthing off.
Trump said that he'd like to run again for a third term. He says he'd like to run again. He says he probably won't run for a third term because he does know that that's not illegal, just like Biden does and everything. I did see a poll recently where if the two popular candidates in their own ways ran against each other, Obama would actually beat Trump, but Trump would beat Hillary Clinton and would also beat Joe Biden if they ran again, if they got a chance to run for third terms. But they did say Obama would beat Trump if they were able to go head to head against each other. It was actually a significant victory.
Who cares? None of these people can run again.
Yeah.
And Trump's not going to prison by the time.
It's all fantasy. I agree with Rick. This is fantasy politics. It's like
it's fantasy politics.
It's fantasy politics. So,
but it's politics, the theatrics and everything. That's what I noticed, even with the whole notion of what happened with the local city council. The lady went up there and did a 15-minute presentation and then basically said psych and everything. So it seems to me that a lot of politics, whether it's national or local, is theater in its own way. Theater and everything. I've got a question for Doc and all along those lines, because it looks like the State Department may be requiring some visa applicants to post bonds of up to $15,000. So if you want to come to the U.S., you might have to post a $15,000 bond to enter the country. So the U.S. is requiring some foreign visitors, I doubt from Bangladesh, to pay up to $15,000 for entry. So why would you pay that money, and which countries are going to get targeted? Because apparently they want $15,000 for entry if you're coming from another country.
It's terrible for the tourism industry. Vegas is dying. Vegas overall tourism is down 20%.
Dr. Creek, we can't hear you. You're muted. Oh. No, can't hear you.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
You got to hit that button.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you now.
Please,
okay. Thank you. First thing first, actually the tourists, they will not interested to pay this big amount of money for tourism in USA. Example, for they can go to Canada, right? They can go to Europe. They can go to Middle East. They can go to even Asia Pacific, even Australia. So I think this is very unhealthy policy. What US are trying to impose. I have a better proposal for Pot TV, for my friends, and trust me, when I say I want to bring 100 million people, everybody laugh at me, right? Even when I go to USA, that time also people laugh at me, but I done it, I make it with a specific diagram. I am a big believer of climate change. I know that Trump do not like climate change. Secondly, I'm from a very small country, a very small place. It's called Rajbari. It's near Podda. So in South Asia, we have Himalaya, then we have Ganga, then we have Podda, and then Bay of Bengal. Definitely USA has great interest about this Bay of Bengal. So we are developing an ecosystem, how we can solve this problem with like water related problems, like smart village issues, like Himalayas issues, all of the things. So we come up with the commitments with all of the politicians, with all of the media persons, with all of the universities, government administrations, defense, diplomats, and we've already developed a summit how we can solve our greater Bangladesh and India. So I believe that as Pod TV is a intellectual community, right? You have all of the great resources from around the world. So if you want to take some real actions, want to take Global South real understanding of Global South, maybe through this process, because IIT and Bangladesh and definitely Stanford also working with us, we are planning to develop a center of excellence. We need media, right? High quality media. Yes, Bangladesh has a lot of media and everything. Maybe we are like a very basic like podcast, but you can go to the next level with this process, like with engagement with the people, engagement with the policy, engagement with the diplomacy, uh, and through this process, definitely you can get audience and people can think like Pot TV is for global South development, Pot TV for South Asian developments, or Pot TV for Bangladesh developments. So this way, I already bring the 100 millions peoples for global goods. I do not have any single intention. Try to understand, I'm not a rich people. I do not have big house. I do not have car, money, and big savings. I only do work for global goods. If Pot TV is interested, I request you can join. It's exclusive. It's better than Nobel Prize winning. It's a life changing. You have your great intelligence, you have your show, you have your methods. Share with global goods. Share with global communities. So already I started these things. I share Nick Palveda, your initiative, because you throw me in this media world. Uh, you are good man. I know that Jatavi always do debate with you, but you are very calm and quiet, and you always face a lot of things. Maybe you have to face a lot of argument, but it's a life changing. We will invite you all in Bangladesh and in South Asia. Hopefully, next year it will be great event for us. I know USA has lot of interesting things. Bangladesh also has lot of interesting things. South Asia has lot of interesting things. I request all of the global leader through your program, political leaders, you should meet with this grassroots level community. Then your perception will change. You will get new experience, and you can understand what is good for Bangladesh, what is good for America, what is good for Canada. So experience change many things. I request you all to join in my World Talent Economic Forum initiative. I'm not owner of these things. You people are owner, but I ensure through this process you change human lives. And yeah, it's not only speech; it's real work. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Nick, to give me a big platform. Definitely, you will be part of the history through your series. Thank you.
No problem at all, and everything like that. So, any thoughts around
Well,
that?
I looked up more information about that $15,000 bond to enter the U.S.
Uh-huh.
And the scope is, I mean, it's obnoxious, but it only applies to 20 countries if it's implemented, from Africa and the Mideast that have high visa overstay rates. And so it's only expected to affect about 2,000 applicants. Worse for overall tourism. Well, tourism travel from Canada and Mexico are down 20% year over year. And uh, there's a $250 visa integrity fee, which is just a garbage fee that if you're coming in from, well, Canada, Mexico, I don't know how many other countries, that was part of the big, beautiful bill. So that will cut down tourism more than the $15,000 bond.
Yeah,
But they're both stupid and terrible for business.
yeah, they're both stupid and terrible for business and everything. But speaking of stupid and terrible, I see we got Jacoby has joined us as well. But one of the things that I saw was that the U.S. DOJ is opening a grand jury to investigate Obama officials. So this came out yesterday, and Attorney General Bondi is ordering prosecutors to start a grand jury probe into Obama officials over a Russia investigation. And Trump says he's happy to hear that the DOJ has launched this grand jury probe. So what's our take on this notion that I guess he's trying to make Russiagate now and Obamagate?
So Trump's campaign was very much in contact with the Russians. There are more than 200 documented contacts between people who worked on Trump's campaign, including Trump's kids, and people who are associated with the Russian government during the 2016 campaign. So it's not horseshit at all that there was collusion between, or a ton of contact that was worth investigating between Russia and the Trump campaign. And this is just a distraction from Trump Epstein.
Rick, I think that's where you could have started. You didn't even have to explain any of the other stuff. All this is a distraction because of the whole Epstein file. So that's all that's going on. There's no there. It doesn't matter. He's just trying to, again, get off the Epstein file. Just release the files, no matter who's in there, be it Democrats, be it Republicans. Release the files. He campaigned on it, but he won't because he's already hired. He's told, the FBI to comb through the files, make sure his name is taken out. Yeah.
Yeah, they've retracted his name a bunch of times, everything. But his other buddy, Mr. Putin, says that and Russia says it will no longer abide by its self-imposed moratorium on intermediate nukes. So Russia says it will stop abiding by the INF treaty, and the ex-Russian president, who one of them, warns enemies of new reality as Kremlin ditched its nuclear treaty. So are we going to start seeing more missiles? I think one time on one of our past shows, Rick, you might have been the one talking about this notion of actually trying to have de-escalation of missiles, whereas this time I guess we might be getting an escalation of missiles.
Well, we have a Ukrainian expert here. Maybe we'll ask Sasha about that particular issue.
Well, the real issue that nobody wants seriously discuss the possibility of a nuclear attack. And because there is no consensus how to deal with that, it's a very convenient option for Russians and others like China or North Korea or so on to play with the threat of nuclear attack. And that plays directly to US and Western taxpayers' base, electorate base. So this how, through these threats, it doesn't matter they're real or unreal. Of course they're unreal. There will be no Russian attack on US, never, because Russia will be destroyed in next minute and a half. However, you don't explain that to taxpayers. You say that this is awesome weapon that will destroy everything, and then there is a retaliation. Even if US will be able to defeat Russia's nuclear arsenal, there is still a dead hand that will continue to destroy US. So there is a lunacy. For those who like the theories, go straight and see Dr. Strangelove. That's a great movie, and you will enjoy it. And there is a dead hand in play, and so on. Just go and see this movie. So this is through useful idiots, whom are plenty in US, in Western Europe, everywhere. Russia is delivering this its own make propaganda about using nuclear forces or so on. It's nothing, but it's effective. It works. This is why Biden couldn't help Ukraine to win this war a long time ago. How can we do it? Well, Russians, they have so many nuclear warheads. They may attack us. Trump is making some moves to kill this myth about the possible nuclear attack by Russia. And that's the only way to deal with that. So the moment is that Putin or Medvedev, somebody else opens its mouth and say we have a nuclear missiles. So all what US has to do, yes, we do have those, and we have 5 times they're more effective than yours, and faster than yours, and bigger than yours, and one more word in 48 hours, and you will see how they work. Oh, wow.
But by the way, Putin apparently, this is a report from Reuters, says that he is doubting the potency of Trump's ultimatum to end the war. So, you know, he made that ultimatum that he's going to end the war shortly after getting elected. And now I guess Putin is saying, yeah, right, you didn't do it the first time. Why are you going to do it this time? So what's your response to that? Because apparently this just came out on Reuters that he is doubting the sincerity and the ability of Trump to end the war.
Trump said day 1. This is day 200, and there's been no movement at all between, Putin. So no, Trump, the president of peace, he hasn't solved any wars.
Yeah, no wars at all. Hey, Rick, another part of your route and your living cycle in terms of where you've lived at, it includes Colorado, and apparently in Colorado, food stamps will no longer buy you soda or sugary drinks, and waivers have been approved to restrict purchases of soda, candy, and energy drinks using SNAP benefits in Louisiana as well. So apparently the U.S. Farm Agency is allowing 6 more states to bar some items from food aid, and a lot of these seem like items that you don't need to be going toward a healthy living. So what is our thoughts on that?
That's fine, but it's really more about Republican legislatures and legislators being mean to poor people. The poor people deserve a candy bar. I mean, you probably shouldn't spend all your food aid on candy bars, but who does that anyway? And so, yeah, it's just one more way to show how tough they are by taking away small joys from poor people.
Yeah, just taking away those small joys. They all need those small joys in life and everything like that. Apparently, our favorite person, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is pressing Trump to pardon George Santos. So apparently, she is asking Trump to pardon George Santos and for that sentence to be commuted. So is this just some more of that theatrics that we were talking about earlier? Because it does seem like we got regular theatrics from the Trump camp.
He tweeted, he wrote from prison. He said it's really bad and he's crying every day. But he defrauded, dozens of people. And he did a bunch of criminal stuff. And when you do that and you get caught and prosecuted, you go to prison.
Yeah.
Even if it makes you cry.
One of our other favorite persons, Christy Nome, says alligator Alcatraz will be the model for ICE state-run detention centers. And the Mikasaki tribe has joined environmental groups' lawsuit to halt the Everglades detention facility. And a judge has demanded legal custody records for the controversial alligator Alcatraz detention center and all along those lines. So let's see. Nick, you're an attorney and all along those lines. So how much are they going to be able to get to these records, and are they going to be able to stop this detention center, since you are an attorney, one of the attorneys here on Pod TV and everything? So what's up? Are they going to be able to pull this off? Because the judge ordered Florida and the federal officials to produce the alligator Alcatraz agreement, which basically is that they can build it there in the Everglades.
Why would you want to stop a detention center? I mean, that's what they're designed for, is to detain people like George Soros. So I don't see any problem with it. It's probably some progressive BS that's taking place in Florida. It'll all be quashed because sensible people will understand.
Sensible people don't spend $450 million a year on this crap detention center, $100,000 per detainee, most of whom aren't even criminals. So yeah, if you want to spend $100,000 on hardened criminals someplace in a supermax prison, fine. But if you're blowing it on a chicken wire shithouse, on property you don't even own, it speaks to huge incompetence and probably a little graft. The same way that $200 million ballroom is going to cost $2,200 per square foot for construction, which is just a way for political donors to pay off Trump. It's money laundering.
No, it isn't. I mean, this is what it costs to build things today. I don't know why you think it's money laundering. And as you know, the Democrats.
The cost of the ballroom.
We've already been through that.
4 times as much per square foot as it costs to build the average federal building.
You're building it in Washington, D.C. on prime property. What do you expect? And the thing is,
already own the
dwarfs the giveaways by the Biden administration's Internet $14 billion for all. So
now you're going down this same path of trying to complain
about the internet so they can play.
When Rick just brought up actually some facts about the ballroom that is unnecessary, as well as you bring it up, as well as the topic, which was talking about these. How much are they talking about giving again, Mark? For each city, $600 and some odd million to build facilities to house people. Which, okay. This is why immigration doesn't even matter to Trump. It doesn't even matter to the GOP. It is a talking point. They own the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And yet they have yet to put a bill on the floor to do anything to immigration. So this is a showpiece and a talking point to waste money, and exactly what Rick said, to launder money to Trump, to keep him happy and to keep his voters just like Nick saying the same redundant things over and over and over, because it just, there's no other explanation. Because again, there's no reason for these institutions when you can fix the immigration. You can actually fix the immigration system. You can actually pass a bill right now to add more lawyers, which could help the backlog that they keep talking about. To all these people that need to be processed, that is lawyers and judges that you need to hire and put in positions to take care of those things. Not $600 some odd million to every other state so they can build facilities to throw in people. That's private prisons. That's a waste of money again. So again, this is just talking points. Cruelty is a fixture, not a bug. That is what keeps people like Nick saying the same exact thing rather than actually answering the question. We'll try it again. Nick, the GOP have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. What immigration legislation has been put forward?
They don't need any. They already have
that
immigration.
Is why
the problem you have
about
is the progressives don't want to follow the law.
You do not care
about law. You don't want to follow it. Now you're facing the consequences.
You do not care about immigration.
No, we already have it. We have it. You just don't want to follow them. Okay. So the thing is, because you don't want to follow
you
them,
lied. You lied.
Your would not enforce them.
You lied.
Hold on, Nick.
You lied when you said that there was an immigration problem. You lied when you said
we don't anymore. We don't anymore because we're enforcing the laws.
You lied when you said that. We have such a bad immigration system.
Not anymore.
You lied when you said all these things. No. That is the problem. Either we have an issue with the immigration system or we don't.
So we don't anymore. Now that we got rid of
now we don't have an immigration. You follow the law.
No, we don't have a problem anymore. Now that we got somebody who actually
here's a quick quiz for you. Here's a quick quiz for you, Nick. Here's a quick quiz for you.
You guys can enforce it.
Who at this point in their presidency deported more people? Was it Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
Oh, Biden, of course. But because
so
Joe
then you Trump, cannot even say that.
Under Trump, they're too scared to come across the border illegally. Jacoby, listen, under your Trump, They're too scared to come across
I'm
the border.
not scared at all.
They
The
know
problem is you
the
lie.
U.S. is here for business, and the business is you violate the law, you're either going to spend time in the alligator Alcatraz, which they don't like,
Lied,
or
making
you're
up
going
stuff,
to be deported.
creating a
So they don't
cool
come here.
situation. You haven't fixed the
They don't
immigration
know.
system.
It's
Well,
fixed.
you haven't fixed the immigration system.
It's
There's
fixed.
still a problem. Are you now?
You know,
When
the
you
illegal aren't coming anymore.
here's
You already
here's
know
another
that.
one. Here's another one, Nick.
And that's
It's
the reason we lost the election.
But then where are those 20 million people that are invading our nation? They're eating the dogs and the cats. All that's kind of disappeared now, right? Because
Oh, no,
you
they're being
never cared
deported.
in the first place.
No, they're being deported. You told me.
No, they're not. You never cared in the first place. They're deporting. They're actually deporting American citizens. They're deporting people with no criminal record. They're deporting actually just brown people. So again, you lied about the problem.
Well, for
Saying that there's no problem.
You know,
You
when I
lied.
came here, I had to fill out my
Big L
paper.
word. We're being honest. It's
For some reason,
2025. I'm
you
tired of
skipped a lot.
this. Let's
Everyone
let's
goes
sugarcoat it.
place
No,
and
you
people
just
think
lied.
they can skip the
Lie.
line. Have you ever gone to a amusement
Have
park?
another.
and people
Hold
skip
on.
the line? You can't skip the line.
Get off this, but I did have another question. It's one of Sasha's favorite topics and everything like that. But the EU apparently suspended U.S. Tariff countermeasures for 6 months. They did that yesterday and everything like that. So what's going on with our tariff relations? Because the EU even still expects turbulence in trade relations with the U.S. and they delayed retaliatory tariffs for 6 months after reaching a deal with the U.S. But that's just for now. We'll see if this actually maintains and holds and everything. So are we going to get some retaliatory tariffs, or is this delay going to go on for another year or two?
Well, probably not. You know, they'll negotiate some sort of tariff arrangement between the EU and the US. I don't have a problem with it.
I don't see their negotiations because 15% was already imposed on all European goods reaching US. So that part is done. Now, European Union, it's not in a hurry. And not only that, it's much more complicated because they don't have a king like Donald Trump in US. European Union is you can call it federation of several independent states. So they all have to be consulted. It depends on industry, depends on country. So there's much more complicated process. The United States is very simple. It's even in monarchy, the system doesn't exist because, for example, if you take England, when there is a king, he cannot impose tariffs on other countries without suggesting it to its parliament, and they will make a decision whether to do it or not, or if to do, how to do it, and to what extent. So European Union will take some time to figure out. Within 6 months, probably they will. Also, they want to see how the U.S. tariffs are working. That's very, very interesting. Who is going to eat it? Importers or taxpayers? How it's going to affect inflation and so on. There are a lot of things involved, and European Union not in a hurry. Canada stopped any negotiations with the U.S. Canada's position is very simple. You want to impose 35%? Do it. You want to impose 55%? Do it. It's your business. We have nothing to do with that. This is your country. This is your taxpayers, your importers. You do. However, what we will do, we will hit you right where it pains, and it's electricity, which certain states rely fully on U.S. On Canada-produced electricity. So we will hijack the prices. Probably, what do you say, 35%? Okay, maybe we'll start with 35%. Maybe it's going to be 65% or even 112.5%. We'll let you know soon. Okay, what else, Donald? What else? What do you want to do? Make our day today. Say something. And today, by the way, I heard Trump's interview on CNBC. So believe it or not, Trump was complaining that he was discriminated by U.S. banks after his first presidency. So as we know, the second run, he lost to Joe Biden. And Trump was approaching one of the major banks, and he wanted to deposit $1 billion and some other securities. And bank told, sorry, Donald, we cannot do it. Just go across the street. There's so many banks. It will be very happy to do business. And apparently there was not too many banks so happy to do business with convicted felon. That's a problem. But he's complaining that while being convicted felon, he cannot deal with the banks. Well, banks can choose their clients, and Donald Trump was not one of them. That's all. The end of story. Now he's going to retaliate against the banks. Wait to see what's happening.
And rightfully so. As I say, to the victor belongs the spoils. But also when it comes to tariffs, as we well know, we worked out a deal with Bangladesh. It's like 20%.
Oh yeah, bravo!
And we worked it out with quite a few other countries from Vietnam on down. So the thing is, the tariffs will bring in a certain amount of revenue for the U.S.
By the
government.
way, the Swiss president is saying that she's going to present a more attractive tariff offer to the White House, so that just came down. But this one I don't get, and maybe y'all can explain this to me. We just had a person that was in charge of Doge and everything like that, and he has a major company. I know it's a company that sometimes Sasha talks about on his investment show and everything like that, called Tesla. Well, apparently he just got awarded a $29 billion pay package from Tesla. The man's already the richest man in the world and everything. So what does he need with a $23.7 billion or whatever this is, $29 billion pay package from Tesla, as he retained the title as the highest paid CEO in history? So apparently they gave him like some buyback package or something like that. So I'm trying to figure out why he needs this extra money and all along those lines. He's already
Well, he'll be way overpaid for Twitter, so that might be the reason he needs it. He spent $44 billion to buy Twitter, which I still don't. I know we broadcast on Twitter, but I still don't get Twitter, which is now called X. It's just, I don't see what's great about it at all. It's like an idiot website that a lot of people are on. But
What's happening is Tesla's shareholders are buying what's his name, Musk's attention to the companies that he runs. He runs Tesla, runs it very poorly. Tesla is losing all major markets. I was just a couple of months ago, I was traveling in Europe in 4 countries, 7 cities. In 3 weeks, I saw 2 Teslas, one in Czech Republic, I believe, and one was in Spain, in Barcelona. So maybe that's the only Tesla in Barcelona that there is available. And pretty soon it will be driven into the ground. And what can I say? Good luck, shareholders of Tesla.
Yeah, he's owning Tesla and everything. Actually, I was traveling with some friends yesterday, and I think we saw a Tesla that had been actually involved in a wreck and everything like that. So we'll see how sturdy the Tesla is as well in that nature. Hey, Rick, got a question for you as well and everything, because there's this whole media war. We talk about it on our network and everything else, and part of it is the conservative media versus the liberal media. So our good buddy Robert Murdoch has said that he wants to come into your neck of the woods. So he said
He wants to bring out a Los
and he wants
Angeles.
to bring the New York Post into like the California market and give some of the papers their competition. So what's your take on this? Will he be able to get a lot of conservative folks to read the California Post or whatever he's going to call it?
Suppose, I mean, the New York Post is a newspaper for dumb people, and the LA has only, I mean, just look at the New York Post day after day. It's, the New York Times is for people with intellectual pretensions, and the Post is really basically just dumbass news. LA only has one major paper left, the LA Times, and it currently stinks. It's about 30 pages thick on average, where it used to be 70, 80, 100 pages, it loses a ton of money. And so, yeah, if they want to bring out a newspaper for dumb people, I think they'll probably lose money on it, because newspaper is not a money-making enterprise right now.
Right.
But Murdoch can afford it.
Yeah, so who cares? But also, since Sasha bashed Tesla, I have some facts I want to bring out about Tesla, as much as you may not like Elon Musk. How much would $10,000 invested in Tesla 5 years ago be worth today? Try 138,600. 10,000 turns to 138,600. So knock Elon Musk all you want, because you don't like his politics. Knock his pay thing all you want, but he made a lot of people a lot of money. 10,000 to 138,600. If I could do that again, I'd put my 10 grand in yesterday.
Yesterday. How about the beginning of this year, 2025? You put your $10,000 in a Tesla. How much is it worth today? Can you tell me?
You're down about 19%, maybe, Sasha. This year has not been a good year for Tesla. They're down 19.22% this year, but over 5 years, you had turned 10,000 to 138,000. This is the beauty of American capitalism. No one knows where the market is going. Up, down, sideways. Who knows?
Honestly, the big thing with Tesla is that Tesla, when it came out, yes, there were other EVs that were, slowly on the market, but Tesla took over, and Tesla became the actual, I guess, the bar for EVs, and everybody knew Tesla. And yes, Tesla, it just cornered the market on EVs. Now there are more EVs coming into that market that are actually comparable and a lot better than Tesla. Like Rivian is slowly taking off. Lucid just inked a deal with Uber for their Gravity, their new SUV, because now people are moving just like with cars, how cars went from 2-door, 4-door, the nice long sedans, to now SUVs are the big thing in cars, SUVs and trucks. Well, it's the same thing that's going in EVs. Now that they're able to create a better engine, the battery, all the technology-wise, it's getting better and better. Rivian started out with focusing on trucks. Rivian was honestly the first EV truck that was really a kind of a Tesla of trucks, because Tesla had already cornered the market on 4-door sedans. But then now Rivian went from trucks to bigger scale SUVs. When Rivian took off, Rivian actually grabbed in Ford, and now Ford and all the other companies are jumping into the SUV market, and all the EVs are coming out in different arenas, especially when Lucid actually is a Saudi-backed company, but Lucid honestly makes a much better EV than actually Tesla. But because of its expense, and as well as, not many people knew about Lucid, it took off. But BYD right now, BYD is either number one, number two. It took over Tesla for a little bit. It's a Chinese company. However, it took over Tesla's EV market because of its actual price, and because Tesla, especially over in China and other countries, Tesla is a lot more expensive than BYD. BYD would actually have the same car. Like the Tesla Model 3 is a 4-door sedan, kind of small, kind of like a Celica. But the thing is, that car would cost you roughly about $25,000 to $30,000. The actual BYD of the same style, same everything, was roughly $10,000 to $15,000 cheaper. So, and it actually sold a lot better. So it's actually taken.
All right, let's do numbers. 2023,
US
Tesla.
market, because it's blocked out of the U.S. market.
2023, Tesla had 20% of the world EV market. Last year, it dropped to 11%. So, yeah, companies are catching up, and bringing out products that are at least as good for less money. So the Tesla's lost its competitive moat, its competitive advantage.
And that's why Tesla jumped into that's why the board who I think Elon fired, or there was some issue with the board because the board wanted to push more towards AI and wanted to put more AI stuff into Tesla, and Elon stood against that. But then, of course, now that's changed over. So Elon has picked up on the Tesla market or the AI market and is trying to make X AI or Grok, which turned out to be pulling from X and started going kind of Hitler-esque because of what it was talking about. But
look at the quality of the product. The Cybertruck from Tesla looks like it was drawn by a brain damaged kid. Compare that to the Rivian SUV, which
the thing was, if you take the technology on the inside, forget the actual look, the actual technology on the inside of the actual Tesla truck is actually quality technology. However, there were some problems. It's mechanical issues and so on and so forth. The Rivian looks beautiful and also has comparable technology on the inside. But again, it's that Tesla name that is there.
Yeah, but okay, but when you look at who drives Tesla trucks, it's 98% dickheads. I mean, what reasonable person would buy that vehicle? Compared to a Rivian, where I've seen plenty of, Rivians look nice, and the same semi-dickhead who would buy an Audi might buy a Rivian.
And again, it's a status symbol. And that's the only reason why a lot of these individuals end up buying that Tesla truck, is because it's a status symbol more so than, hey, I like the technology on the inside and all this, the quirks and kinks, the actual turning of the steering wheel, because the steering wheel doesn't rotate all the way over. No, it actually has a calibration on the inside where it actually turns the way that it turns. You don't do hand over hand. You actually turn it and it actually can do a tight corner. So the technology on the inside of the Tesla is cool. But yeah, the Rivian has great technology. If you look up the Lucid Gravity is the brand new SUV coming from Lucid, which again just inked a $200 million deal with Uber because they're going to do the self-driving SUV or the self-driving cars with Lucid and Uber. But the technology on the inside of that Lucid is freaking awesome. It is.
I just looked up the price point. All three of them sell for exactly the same price for the base model, $79,900 for Rivian, for Cybertruck, and for Lucid Gravity. So they're all going for the same market. And I tell you, if you're driving a car that you're trying to get laid with your car in LA, tell people you're a movie producer, you're going to do much better driving a Lucid or a Rivian than you are driving a Cybertruck.
Well, you're convincing me to short Tesla stock. So with that, we're short of out of time. But it was a good analyst. I'll tell you, Sasha. I didn't know Jacoby was a stock analyst when it came to this, and so is Rick. But after looking at that, I'm convinced I should go on my Quotron board and short Tesla. I don't see how they're going to survive.
It's just looking at the technology. I love the technology on the inside of it, because there's a lot that we ignore the technology that is being improved on cars. If you look at the Ford Mustang, when people got so upset that it was not the same muscle car, but it turned out to be this SUV, the technology on the inside of the Ford Mustang is actually pretty cool.
And you're telling me they're selling that for $79,000, Rick?
So the base model is $79,900, but if you want any kind of performance, it's going to drive the price closer to $100,000.
Wow! Once the U.S. goes into recession, then the short Tesla will look even better because people aren't going to buy it. They're just going to hold onto their capital.
The interesting thing, check this out, Nick. What you ought to look into, honestly, is also BYD. BYD stock, I think, dropped a little bit or whatever. But BYD is actually the number 2 or number 1 EV maker or EV maker across the globe right now. It's that Chinese company, but it also is one that's actually being pushed out. But it cannot sell in the U.S. right now. And a lot of people in the US want that to come because, again, Tesla is fighting hard for BYD not to hit the US market because the price point is so low.
I have no problem with shorting the stock. I'll praise Elon as I short his stock like crazy because I'm a capitalist. So I'll take.
But yeah,
I'll
you could
take
get
my money on
if
his
you could
loans.
get it into the country, you could get a comparable Chinese SUV for half the price of these $80,000.
Same thing with the brand new
$88,000
minivan.
is too much for a car. And we're out of time. We'll see you tomorrow on World Edition. Bye bye.